Hello. I haven't talked to you guys in quite a while. Lots happened. Uh, Started chewing gum right before this video. I thought about this video all day and how I was gonna make it, and not how, but I was going to make it. And I walked out to the kitchen, grabbed something that I'll show you in a second, and I put gum in my mouth like a dummy. So yeah, I will show you this thing right here is a bracelet for Beloit Memorial Hospital. ER patients in general, whatever. Long story short, and this is gonna be a long story, is on 4/11, almost a month ago now, so about 3 weeks. It was a Sunday. I was working. Emily and I got into an argument over some stupid money. Some of you know me, may know. Some of you who don't know me quite as well would not know that I am extremely cheap for the most part. I don't necessarily buy myself a lot of stuff. My splurges tend to be a watch once in a while, a hockey jersey, and my truck. Not even splurges on my truck. I just get a new vehicle more than most people. Don't say that in a bragging way, because while I haven't lost a lot of money on most of my cars, there has been times I lost a lot. Not a lot. I have lost money on cars. As everyone does. I did trade in my truck and basically walk away for that, not losing anything or losing very little when all was said and done on my new truck. And so it was nice to have a truck that I ordered to almost the exact specs I want. Toyota doesn't do customization, so couldn't get it exactly, but whatever. That's neither here nor there because it doesn't matter. What I am going to talk about, though, is that medical bracelet and kind of that situation. So, going back to the fact that I am cheap. And when I got in an argument, she was going to go to a church retreat with a female group that she's been going to church with. And it wasn't that I had a problem with it, just all of a sudden, with anything, any type of travel, the prices start to add up. And I was not very polite to her or nice to her, and I'm a dummy, messing up work emails now. But, I didn't take into consideration that, she's been looking for this trip and whatnot. So, we get in an argument, and I was an asshole. I don't hold back. I will put what happened in this video and why it happened and everything else, and I'll be honest. But yeah, basically I told her to leave my house. She needed to get the fuck out. Those were probably my exact words, to be honest. And she was trying to do it, she needed to do around the house, and so she was ignoring me, as unfortunately she has learned to do when I get in certain headspaces. But she was ignoring me, and I kept texting her. I was being an asshole what I was doing, because I knew what I was doing. I was pushing buttons for the sake of pushing buttons, even though at that point you don't realize it. Subconsciously, I definitely knew what I was doing. And sorry, let me backtrack for a second and say that there is music playing on my work computer. Hopefully you don't hear it, or if you do hear it, it's just mellow in the background, as it's a little mix of everything that I listen to. But yes, I told Emily to leave. Eventually, she had gotten done enough of what she needed to get done, or I'd pushed her far enough that she finally left. And when she did, she left with Becca, and that set me off, unfortunately. And I started texting her, why in the fuck did she take my daughter? Where's my daughter? Bring back my daughter. I'm gonna call the cops. I called the cops. I did not call the cops on her. I'll 1000% admit to being an asshole. And I was in the wrong. So there's that. There's no hiding that. This story doesn't make sense if I don't tell you everything truthfully. And I kept texting her. Just really, I think, more so to get a response from her than to actually get an answer. I don't want to say that when I get like that it's a game, but I think at some point it does become a game to me. And that's sad, and that's something I am going to work on. It's not fair to her, it's not fair to you guys, it's not fair to anyone that knows me. Well, with that, I then turned around and text my mother, because a lot of times when I get like this, Emily knows that my brother can calm me down or try to talk some sense into me, or even just talk to her, be a friend to her, be someone that's supporting her her own parents aren't in her life. That's a story she would have to tell because it's not my story to tell. But her parents are not in her life, or most of her family. I guess most of their family, except their parents now, and aunts, uncles, people you don't necessarily talk to all the time, are in her life. But her parents are not. And so she will reach out to my mother. And so instead of her reaching out to my mother, I just got ahead of it and I reached out to my mother. And I don't have the text in front of me. I guess I should have pulled up so I could read it verbatim. But basically, the biggest part was I told my mother that, if I didn't have these kids, I would just fucking kill myself. And I'm pretty sure those are at least exactly the part that mattered the most in my message. And, my mother texted me, what's going on? Emily did not text her. I don't want to say I jumped the gun, but I started an issue that would have never been an issue if it wasn't for me. And I told her not to come, and I shut my phone off. I wasn't answering her, wasn't answering Emily, wasn't answering anyone. And eventually they called the cops. I had calmed down after Emily left, and I was just working like I am right now. And I was not going to answer the door. I figured it was my mother. It was not my mother. I want to say they pounded 3 times, and I just ignored it thinking it was someone else. And then they said, "This is the Beloit Police, Dustin Smith, you need to open up." In my mind, I went, I'm probably fucked. Not knowing why they're there yet, but have a sneaking suspicion, I opened up the door. They said something, and I went off. I started screaming, telling them to get the fuck out of my house. If I wanted to kill myself, that was my right. And I kept screaming, "Get the fuck out of my house. Get the fuck out of my house." And that if I wanted to kill myself, it was my right. Why I do believe that, don't tell someone that. Even if it's what you believe, it's never smart to say. And I'm not going to kill myself. Through this, there's a lot of stuff that I'll talk about in this video that I've had to go through now, kind of, I don't want to say jumping through hoops, but in a way that's what it is, jumping through hoops to show to people that I'm normal. But please come. It's just Blake and I here. The cops asking to take him outside. I didn't think about necessarily the fact that, we do have guns in the house, and the cops probably knew that. So as I'm screaming, Blake was in his room. Blake is extremely smart. If you don't know him, Blake is extremely smart. Blake is fairly good at trying to read people and understand some of that, even though with autism, that's one of the things they can't do is necessarily comprehend the emotions that people have. But Blake knows. Blake lives with me. Blake asks me all the time if I'm stressed, if I'm doing okay. Blake, I don't want to say stepped up, because Blake was never not showing that he loved me, but Blake lately has been very loving, making sure he's telling me multiple times. Sometimes it'll be 5 minutes apart, sometimes it may only be once a day, but almost daily I get a, I love you from Blake, and that's a good thing, because I do love my kids, and to be honest, I don't know that I'd be here without my kids. Nothing against Emily, my parents, anyone like that, but I had a fucked up childhood, and I'm sorry I'm cussing so much. I try not to cuss. And it's something that never was really processed, and I started talking about it late in life, and it makes it harder. This camera anymore looks like I have 2 chins. I don't know if I do that. Don't do that. Let's do this. And so basically what happens, I kept screaming at the cops, and eventually I was done with it, and I went to slam the door shut on them, and one put their foot in the door, and I was not having that, and I kept pushing on the door, and kept screaming, and eventually, guns got drawn on me. Not fun. Not the first time I've had a gun drawn on me, unfortunately, but the first time I ever thought that, okay, I better stop or I'm going to get shot. Even though I told my mother wanted to get killed, I wanted to die, I did not necessarily want to die by a cop shooting me. I say this kind of unjust, kind of not. Luckily I am white, and For that, there's probably a better chance, unfortunately, that they did not pull the trigger on me because of that. I don't say that because I feel like, there was anyone that was here that was racist. There was a Latino cop of some sort. I want to say most of the other ones were white. And, I did back down at that point. So, luckily, no one got shot that day. And the supervisor came and talked to me, and we talked about what was going on. He mentioned some of his own struggles and what he's going through, and his experience with dealing with people going through with the same mental issues, and one that did not turn out very well for him, and the trauma that brought with him. And him and I just had a really good conversation. We had a lot in common, or he was very smart to know that he could pull stuff that was on my desk by looking at it and get me to calm down by talking about stuff that I have sitting at my desk that I may be interested in. And one was a knife, whether he opened the knife and looked at it or he actually had the knife and said he had the same knife I had. The knife is bought from a friend's company. They kind of specialize in customizing items, but they also do sell the items that they customize. They have those in stock. So this knife was one that isn't the most expensive knife from their website or the cheapest knife, but one that my friend recommended, and we got it customized to something that I really like, which is carbon fiber. So yeah, whether the sergeant supervisor was lying to me and said that, or if it was the truth, I don't know. But he was smart enough to know to get me to calm down. So he played me that time. He got me. I let him win that one, even though I wasn't trying to let him win. No, I'm very professional. Nothing held against them. We've now had experience with the fire department and the police department, and I have to say that they are all been extremely great. With everything going on, I couldn't imagine being in their shoes. And they've all, in my opinion, handled everything very well. I hold no grudge against them. But with that said, let's move on because the story keeps going. They were here for a while. Emily had gone on to my mom's. And the cops had taken Blake outside, and they were talking. All of them were amazed with Blake and how smart he is and his love for sports and everything else. And they all made sure to tell me that once again. In my mind going, just saying you're saying that because the reason you're here. But Blake is an amazing child, and I don't know why I have a hard time when someone tells me that, but I think it's just taking a compliment in general. I can't do because I don't know how to cope with that. You give me a compliment, I feel like you are lying to me. Once again, it's nothing personal. I am trying to become better, but that is what goes through my mind. Eventually, the cops took me away. I had to go to the hospital. I did go voluntarily because I just thought it was going to be easier than making them take me, but with going in the cop car, they didn't pat me down. Did get in the back of the cop car and ride that way and stuff, and we talked, me and the young officer talked about energy drinks, and he really liked my truck, so we were talking about that, and just, I wasn't treated like I was a bad guy, and not to say that I was, because I don't think I was. I'm never going to hurt anyone else, and I'm not going to hurt myself. I will say that. As much as some of the statements I say in here may seem that way, I'm not going to hurt myself. I have depressed days, and I'm working on telling myself that they'll pass. They're temporary. Right now, it's real easy to say that. But at the end of the day, when I have anxiety attacks, I start telling myself that. So it's just temporary. It's going to pass. Today's a new day. Tomorrow's a new day. If it takes till next week, just hold on for the ride till next week. Go to the hospital, run a test, talking to me. Unfortunately, in my mind, especially at that point, so it was still a game. I didn't lie to anyone, but you could tell they're worried, and different doctors come in and talk to you, and this doctor and that doctor, and I dealt with that. And basically, we ended up finding out I had a medical emergency that was not related to the craziness that is my brain. I had acylketosis. It's my understanding that, let me backtrack, I am a diabetic, and with my mental health going crazy, I did let my body go crazy too. And so I wasn't dealing with that, and I had acidosis. Basically, it's my understanding that my blood was turning acidic and could potentially kill me at some point. So I had to stay there for that. I was admitted, and I am curious if I was admitted with, or if I didn't have that, if I still would have stayed, because shortly after the officer left, the officer was acting as not a bodyguard, but like a suicide watch. Military, a lot of times you have what's called suicide watch, and he was there. So when eventually everything kind of calmed down at the hospital, they'd come in now and ask me questions. Blood, finger pricks, more blood, blew all kinds of veins. Eventually, a nurse was sitting outside after the cop left, and that's when I realized that no matter how long I was here, 5 hours or 5 minutes or 5 days, I had to have someone sit with me, at least for the whole time, until there were certain clearances passed. So I just started talking to all of them and learned some interesting stuff from different people, different CNAs and RNs and different things like that. It tended to be people that were from another department that didn't necessarily need them that day. But yeah, I had to have what we'll call suicide watch or a caretaker the whole time I was there. So when I got moved upstairs and was put on the ecology floor or something like that, I'd have someone in my room all night long. So I didn't sleep. I was in the hospital for just shy of 24 hours. And during that time, I had to meet psychiatrists and psychologists and stuff like that, and deal with all that. And they gave the clear for me to go home, but because police were involved, I had to get involved with Rock County, who I actually did talk to on the phone while I was here. Emily did come up, get the kids. They had to talk to get Blake. They had to talk to Emily, make sure she thought everything was okay, and and whatnot, make sure she felt okay. And once again, no problems with any of that. Psychiatrist come, oh, do you ever think about hurting yourself? Well, I'd say I think about hurting myself so much. I'm not gonna say I don't think about going to bed and not waking up, but I'm not gonna try that because I made promises to people. I'm never gonna shoot myself. They won the guns out of the house for a little bit. Actually going after work, hopefully, to get them today. We had a neighbor move in that's kind of making Emily uneasy. And I also made Emily a promise a long time ago that I would never, ever, ever shoot myself. If things got so bad that I did end up committing suicide, I don't plan to, but I'm just putting it out there. I would never, ever shoot myself. I'm big in believing that I want to donate my organs. I've never been able to donate blood because we lived in Germany. So I've always kind of been bummed about that. I wasn't able to donate plasma for the same reason. I once was supposed to be a match for a young girl who could use my bone marrow, and we had to go do that, and I had the test ran and stuff, and I never heard back. So finally I reached out and found out, because I lived in Germany, and I had to go to the Rockford Blood Bank or whatever to test. It pulled up that I was ineligible because of that, and which turned out I was ineligible to donate bone marrow too. I have no clue why I started telling you about that. Dummy. It's my skin cancer spot. I tell Emily I have skin cancer. It's a spot up there that doesn't heal very well, and I picked at it for a long time, and it healed up, or started to heal up, but there was like a crack that I picked away like an idiot. So I keep banding it, otherwise I'm gonna pick at it. We had to get out of the hospital. Oh, we're talking about organ donation. Yeah, I want to donate my organs. I am an organ donor. And, if someone shoots themselves, I have to imagine that eliminates part of the organs they can donate. And I want any part that someone else can use to be given to them. Even though my eyes are garbage, they're good enough to see with glass or contacts, My liver is about shot just because my body hates me. But I imagine if you need a liver transplant and yours is trying to kill you even worse, mine's a step in the right direction at least. Who knows, and maybe in someone else's body they would do better than they do in mine. So yeah, I'll never do that. I'm planning to commit suicide, but I will never do that. One thing that did come out of this is I realized that I think about death a lot more than I ever think about being happy I'm alive. And not that I think... It's not like a happiness-sadness thing. It's a... My mind goes to places, and there's not much I can do about it. And realizing that your mind goes to those dark places a lot more than it goes to those happy places that you just like... It's a good time. You know, I'm happy I'm on this earth. Unfortunately, in my mind, I find the bad in everything. Everything from looking at myself in the mirror, being on the news. Yesterday, one of my charities did one of their big fundraising events, and I picked myself apart because of it. And everything went smooth. I mean, a lot of the credit that I end up getting goes to Emily and her work, and I made sure she got the credit. I didn't take credit for any of that. But it's just these things I can do that people tell me I do a good job at. I pick myself apart. Graduating college. I didn't do it right away. Didn't do it the traditional way. It took me 3 major changes to figure out where I needed to be when I went back to school. So there's just all these things that I pick myself apart for. But dealing with all this, I had to deal with the Rock County Crisis Center. And let me tell you, those people, they're nice enough. The people themselves, no problem with them either. But with that being said, you don't ever want to deal with them because they tend to make your life a living hell. I am still jumping through hoops almost a month later because of that. It's calmed down a little bit now, but for the first week or almost 2 weeks, I got calls every day. How's it going today? How are you feeling today? Have you done this? You done that? If you don't answer the first time, we're going to call back, and we're going to give you a little bit of time, then we'll call back again. And if you still don't answer, we're going to send the police over. So I always try to make sure I answer calls. I hate speaking on the phone, but, if I see the phone numbers, I need to pick up because I don't need more issues. That's for dang sure. So I was dealing with the... trying to find, they were telling me I need to see a counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, something like that, and it's something that I don't remember if I talked about, but I had tried to do through the local health systems, and it was a mess. Due to the person I was paired up with, the psychiatrist I was paired up with, just was not going to work. When I got discharged, they gave me the same person. I told them about the issues that every person that came and visited me and talked about. They had to refer him for this doctor's appointment. I told, I will not work with this guy. I tried, can't do it, won't do it. So I had to call the counseling center or whatever it is for the local health systems and talk to the supervisor, who then informed me that only quarterly do they take into consideration doctor changes, which I was floored. I'm telling you, I'm not going to work with this guy. I can't work with this guy. Being told I have to have someone that I have to talk to. Here I am telling you, I'll work with pretty much anyone else besides that guy. Like, give me someone I can understand, I haven't already had an issue with, and we'll work. It's not what I want to do, but it's the hoops I have to jump through at that time. Luckily, I found a place that got into right away. It's in Rockford. They're wanting me to go 5-6 times a day, so that's another thing I have to straighten out. But, or 5-6 times a week, sorry, not a day. That'd be crazy if it was a day. With that is a drive to Rockford every day, is missing work every day, or let's say it's only 4 days I have to miss work. These are the issues that this place kind of created, and it's jumping through the hoops, and to that extent I still am. I met with the psychiatrist, went okay, and then a couple days later I met with the therapist, and it didn't go bad, but it was not necessarily the best either, just because it made me feel extremely vulnerable, extremely open. and it made the depression worse. You know, it was. I remember that night driving home and everything that I know I told Emily and I probably told my mother that, you know, doing that made it worse for me. You know, it made me want to die because, you know, whether it was the vulnerability or if it was, who knows? I don't know. But it was hard. I haven't gone back to her yet for the fact that my next appointment hasn't came up yet. I am going back. I didn't lie, I wasn't dishonest, but there was definitely times that, you know, I steered the conversation the way I wanted it to go. And I'm afraid that if I do that, it's gonna, and I did that, so I can't say it's gonna become, that it becomes a game. You know, I don't have to let you know what I'm really thinking, feeling, doing. You know, I can lie to you. I don't think I'm smart by any imagination, like any stretch of the means. It's something I've admitted before. I've never once said I was smart. I don't necessarily like people saying I'm smart because I don't think I am. I think I work hard and, you know, get where I'm going because of that. So yeah. I'm very honest. You know, we kind of looked at a couple things, and one of the things she wanted me to work on is my absurdiveness. It's not something I am. I'm not absurd. I don't take compliments, as I said. You know, I don't. My opinion doesn't matter to me enough that I put it out there, or it does matter and I'm just embarrassed by it or afraid to be ridiculed or really just in my head about it. And so, you know, what I was supposed to work on was absurdiveness, and I don't know that I have. I don't know if I can. I know that going there made me feel like garbage, like dog crap. Not that it's supposed to, but I don't know how you work through issues when you can't get out of your own way. You know, if you're driving a bus and you park a bus in front of your bus and you can't back out either, no, you're not getting out. And that's kind of the situation here, is that I have to get out of my own way to allow myself to be helped. And I don't know if I want to be helped. I went through issues before all this and I dealt with them. I've dealt with them. I turned 35 in 16 days, just under 2 weeks. Makes no difference. But, you know, for 30-ish years I've dealt with this, and who knows, it may have even been before then. So to have to talk about it all of a sudden and go through all these things sucked. You know, where March 16th was... March 15th was my last day at the office. We've been at home since March 16th was my first day at home. So, you know, we're now in the 5th month of this year, so I've almost been at home for 14 months. I can do math better than that, I promise. You know, and there's times that I don't go outside, but once a week. There's times I didn't go outside, even that. You know, there's times where I'd stay outside for a while, and that was... I don't know if I'd say it was helping me feel better, but, you know, it was just something. Fresh air feels good. So I'm dealing with that. I'm jumping through the hoops. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to tell this psychiatrist and counselor that I'm not going to be able... So part of the reason you have to go 5-6 times a week is TSM therapy. And basically, magna on your brain, they kind of center on the area of your brain up here where, you know, they find that depression affects the most. And basically they're going to try to alter that part of the brain, and it's something you do it for 5 to 6 weeks. Rather intently, you can do it for 4 times a week. Maybe, I don't think he said 3, but maybe he said 3 times a week. But you stretch out those weeks, so instead of doing it in 5 weeks, you're going to do it in 10 weeks, or whatever the number is. So I don't think that's going to be right for me. And I definitely want to try it, but it means missing work. Driving to Rockford every day. My truck's so bad on gas, I do need to go get an oil change now, so I'm hoping that helps. You know, and I'm trying to just accept the fact that I have to deal with these things so that people leave me alone again. So I'm just dealing with them. I'm trying to be open, honest, and just have communication. Hopefully the second time I go and visit isn't as emotional of a visit, more so just that feeling of vulnerability and that feeling of just raw being open, just talking about stuff that you may have never talked about or you don't talk about very often or whatever the case is. I meant to write down some stuff, not so it can guide the direction this video goes, but just so I at least didn't forget stuff. I feel like sometimes when I go off these little tangents, I get sidetracked and I can't find my way back to the path we were on originally. So I'm trying not to do that, but we're gonna keep going because I'm talking about me and I haven't made a video since before this doctor visit, so I know there's a bunch more stuff that's happened since then. Yeah, I'm jumping through the hoops. I'm talking to someone, something that people want me to do. I'm trying to do. I don't mind going down to Rockford to meet the people I need to meet. I don't want to do it every day though. If we meet once a week, I can do it outside of my work schedule. Let's do it. But I try to pride myself in doing good work. And part of that's being here, and since this all happened, I've had I guess since I had the giant lump in my face that was my tooth being infected, I've tried to be at work, but then you turn around and you end up in a hospital for other reasons, and this and that, and I just want to be a good employee, do my job, do the extra stuff I do, and go home. I come, leave my office, I hang out with kids, we do this or do that. Emily and I went to Six Flags on Friday with another couple, and we had a good time. We got to ride, Emily don't ride roller coasters, but I got to ride 6 rides in just a tad bit over 3 hours, and Emily rode one ride with us, the one she'll ride. So that was nice. Some of those things kind of take your mind off it, at least temporarily. So it's always a good thing. We need that kind of release. If I sit at my desk all day, and this is my office, I have the black lights on behind me because we have some art, and we keep our room extremely dark. You'll see big, thick blankets over the shades in the windows and stuff like that, and I like my room extremely dark for sleeping and stuff. And when I was on third shift, we slept a little more into the morning, so we put those up years ago and just never take them down because now we just like it dark. Why that matters, I don't know, because black lights are on behind me, but there's artwork on the walls that does glow. I'll show you some stuff like that. The one, gotta remember everything's reversed, can't do this. There's one that the kids made for me with my mom. Here's one from a girl that I'm trying to, what's going on here? I'm completely focused on the wrong thing. So there's one that a friend of ours made that's doing a tattoo, and we're gonna have a couple other pieces in the house from her. And here's the big one that we have hanging up from her right now. So you can kind of see the purplish glow coming up, and the painting just looks, I don't want to say sloppy because it's definitely not sloppy, but just cool in the dark lights. We have some other pieces that will be in here soon. Making my house my own little museum. I enjoy that. I enjoy having art up. If you're friends with me on Facebook, I posted most of what we have up on the walls. And we have some other pieces. One that's, I wouldn't say commissioned, but one that's been... So we bought a piece of art from another artist that is a relative of our kid's old babysitter. And we put that on the wall, and then the girl that did one of the pieces you saw and was doing my tattoo posted a piece that was almost identical in colors and somewhat in the structure of it. And we tried to buy it, and it was sold before we could, but there was one piece left that the person didn't take or wasn't included, or I don't know, the deal for that. I wasn't involved, so. But we bought the one piece, and she was gonna do some stuff to it, and I'm excited to get that one because she was making it more than just like a kind of a abstractish. I don't even know what to call them. We have a couple pieces of that style art, but she was gonna make something more of it. We'll just put it that way. And so we're still waiting on that one. That one will go in here too, and I'll have to move some stuff around because we've got stuff like that hanging on the walls that you can see is behind halfway behind a bookshelf. So we need to rearrange some things so we can get all the cool art in here, and it can be blacklit and stuff like that. Tangents, I tell you, man. That's part of the reason I was talking to my dad. And one of the things I told him is the fact that when I tried to structure the videos, they just became no fun. Part of the things I've liked about this video and the ones I began with was the fact that, you know, I just kind of freestyle what comes to my head during the video. I may say, may not say. This one, I had a starting point with the story, but from there I didn't necessarily have like, we're gonna talk about this, we're gonna talk about this, and now lead into this, and then we'll talk about this. Instead, I'm just going off my head. I think this way I'll make more of these videos. And I think part of it's because no one was really watching. I don't necessarily promote them on purpose, but at the same time, you know, you want people to watch. You know, I think Emily tries to catch on with some of them, and I know a couple other people that watch them as soon as they get posted, or they at least watch them at some point. And, you know, and I don't need to make videos for you guys. I make videos for me to talk to you guys. I guess that's a good way to put it. Try to even this thing out so it usually came out a little bit here. Now Aaron wants me to grow an epic mustache. Mr. Babcock. Yeah, so it's really been kind of crazy. We went through, not a COVID scare, but we went to dinner with someone that one person's they're a family member. They're not family member of us. The people we're talking about are a family, a unit. There's a mom, a dad, and two sons. But we went to dinner with Blake and I went to dinner with the dad and the son. And the dad had gotten his COVID test back. It was negative. So, you know, the son, just same stuff going on. You know, their test was going to come back negative too. Well, it didn't. It came back positive. But I can understand it, thinking nothing towards them. They're great people, and if it was a different situation, it wouldn't have played out the way it did. So I tell the story not because anything with them, but just because it happened. But yeah, the son had COVID. We were at dinner in a booth. Me, let me rephrase that. They were on one side, and Blake and I were on the other side. And the next morning, we found out that the son had COVID and whatnot. No big deal, whatever. So we quarantined and had tests done, and that was even a mess. But the whole time you're inside, you're going, I don't really got this. I should run to the store and get this. Well, you can't just run to the store. Luckily, Becca and Emily were away from home, so Becca kind of got bounced around a couple places that were family that was helping us out, kind of keep her to where at least knew what was going on. And Emily was able to stay with one of the people she went on the girl trip with, the mom. Her test had come back negative too. So they stayed quarantined somewhere. Blake and I quarantined here, and the other two soon quarantined at their house. And then on Monday we went and got tested, and the test came back. Well, test didn't come back. Originally I got a call saying that the test had failed. So in my mind I'm thinking that, okay, Blake and I have COVID, whatever, we'll deal with it. Nope. Apparently the test failed in their machine somehow, so the test was bad and we had to go and redo it. And then we come back from being redone, and within like 20 minutes or something, we had negative test results. And I know a lot of people don't trust the rapid ones, and I understand that, but we never had any symptoms or anything like that, so we just let it go. And you know, we always try to be safe. I don't like wearing a mask, but I do it because it's what's asked of me, at least for right now. So it's been a crazy ride. Yesterday, so we'll backtrack just a little bit here. Been on the news a couple times. I think maybe I talked about my first one. Just went, in my opinion, pretty bad. I told it wasn't that bad, but I caught myself watching myself on the screen a lot, and I caught myself just having a hard time because the screen would show a picture of me, and I can see my lips moving, but the words that are coming out the screen at me aren't what is coming out my mouth at that same moment. So like the delay throwed me off, and I'm looking at two different screens because I had notes on one screen and the interviewer on the other screen, and that would flip between like a video, and then it would flip to a picture or a video of or like me live talking, but there's the delay, and that one was just hard. So the next time I had to do it here a week back or so, I didn't make notes. That was the big first part. But I have my camera straight in the middle of my two screens on a pole, and so I just used that and looked straight ahead, didn't look at the screens, didn't look at anything else, and that seemed to go better. At least it looked like I was a seasoned veteran of being on the news, which is still a weird feeling because it's not like a celebrity feeling, because that's not it at all, but there's definitely a feeling of like, I don't want to say celebrity, but like it's kind of a cool feeling to know that first off, you're in the position to be in the position to be invited on the news to talk about something that there's other organizations they could pull from, that the person may be a doctor, may be in that position for a long time, and instead they came to my organization, and with that they came to ultimately it ended up with me to do these interviews, and that's like such a huge privilege. I got business cards. Like, I'm extremely excited for these. I've had business cards in the past that I've had to buy, make myself whatever, but I didn't buy these ones, and they have my name on them. Like, I gave the news guy one yesterday in the story I'm about to tell you, and it was like this coolest moment for me because it was one of the first times that I'm like, somebody trusts me so much they were willing to spend money to get me business cards. Like, it's nuts. I mean, that I find the bad and everything in me, and I don't know what I did to deserve the opportunities I've gotten, I guess. I mean, I know I'll probably get yelled at for that by some people, but that's how I feel. You know, I think like what got me started on the first board was kind of just definitely someone saying, hey, I got this opportunity, I can't take it. I told them about you and you'd be a good fit. And I took it, and it's a good organization. Like, I like what they do. I think they do good work for the local community here, and I enjoy being with them. But at the same time, like, I have to really focus my own needs, and with that means I have to look at what I want to do. Like, you know, does that charity advance my career? In title, like, not meaning that, you know, I have a title there, and yes, it will that way. I mean, I think it looks good that to say I'm on the board of this charity, which is part of a national organization. And with that, I can run for office or something if I really wanted to. I am on committees for it, and I think it could potentially help that way. But I don't know that that's what I want either. But they're a charity that really needs people and needs leadership from the board, but they have very strict guidelines and terms and stuff like that, and some people will be terming out here soon, and with that there are people that hold positions, and as much as I really want to take one of those positions or look into one of those positions, is probably a better word, I don't have the time. Like, I have at some point to focus on the one organization, the one that's, you know, close to home, the one that you know, said, we want you, and we want you for this job, you know, and they've shown that. I don't think I've done enough. I hope that the opinion of the people on the board is different. I don't know. I'm never going to ask. I'm just trying my hardest, and I'm branching out to get different things in. And it's something I really enjoy doing. If nothing at my current work, But if I ever had the chance to do that full time, especially in the realm of a non for profit, I would jump on the opportunity for it. But right now, that's not the case. So I do it out of pure love, and excitement and joy, and just wanting to give back. In NIUA in college, I joined a fraternity it's co-ed first off. So when I say fraternity, this is males and females. We didn't have a house. You either lived in the dorms or lived in an apartment on campus, or maybe even drove to campus. I don't know. But pretty much everyone was welcome to join or try to join. And part of that, it's co-ed. I said it's co-ed, dummy. It's a service fraternity. Our main role was service to ourselves, service to each other, and service to our community. And brothers is what they're called. So even females were brothers. And I took that, and I loved doing it. I kind of stepped into a PR role until I left school with that school, and it's just cool that there's organizations that their biggest goal is to give back. You raise money, you give it back. Every year they do a big event and sell ducks and do a duck race and stuff like that to send kids to camp, or at the time that's what it was for. I should reach out to the organization and who knows, maybe get involved again down the road at some point. But yeah, they do that and they do really good work. So my passion to give back has always been there, and it'll always be there. And this one charity really is I've committed myself kind of to it over other things. It's something that our family, it's an autism thing, and our families gained from it in the sense that it's a place we can go, and they offer some kind of classes where you can go ask questions and learn more about like a kid's 504 or a kid's IEP, or getting your kids this help or that help, or even just during the pandemic they've done a lot of stuff that's goodie bags for the kids and stuff like that. So really just a good organization overall that I'm super. I just showed you my business card, so I don't know why I'm trying not to say the name anymore. It's a super cool thing. Like, it's my pride and joy. I posted a picture of my business card on Instagram because I am friends with a couple of the people on Facebook, and I didn't want to brag. Like, I don't say any of this to brag, and I don't know if anyone else has business cards, and I don't want to be like, look what came in, my business card that they bought me. Because for me, it's not like that. Like, it's coming from a place of pure, like, holy crap, I did something good in my life. Like, these people trusted me so much, and they talk about, we want to bring this person on, or I want to bring this person on, and then they discuss it. I've been in part of one of those discussions for someone else. So, like, it's, I don't want to brag, and I said I 100% don't mean it from a bragging way. Like, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Like, I don't know what that group saw in me to trust me enough to give me this role, and then allow me to just work. Like, I'm afraid to step on feet a lot, and I'm getting to the point now where I don't have to feel that way. Like, I feel like my opinion matters, and like, these people know that I'm just here to do good and help them out and make everyone else's job as easy as possible by me doing my job that I got, and I hope I'm doing that for them, because if not, I need to reevaluate myself and find that, if that's what's important to me. I want to do it 100% right, and I need to do it to the point that these people feel like it's warranted for me to be there, and I think they do. Or at least it comes across that way. So I always thank them for that. It's one of those rants that I gotta figure out how to not go crazy on. Giant goofball. I don't know how anyone takes me serious ever. I have a hard time taking myself seriously. But yeah, like, and I would dedicate so much of my time to this organization if I could. I made a huge event yesterday. It turned out really well, and Blake and I ended up on the news. So in the month of April, I ended up on the news 3 times. Pretty sure it's more than I've ever been in the paper or the news in a year. Probably most of my lifestyle, or most of my life. You know, I can recall just a couple times being in the paper. My name would get in the paper a lot for wrestling, but that's different. So the fact that, like, I'm trusted to go on live TV and talk about these things, and my, it's not an opinion, but my research, my, I guess you could say opinion to some extent, is so valued that I can go and do these things. It just, like, I promote them on Facebook because I want people to see, like, look, that's Dustin on the TV. And it's not a celebrity thing, it's a local news channel, and just, like, so cool that I get to do it, I guess. And with that comes the fact that it means that another organization isn't on the news filling those shoes. I mean, there's other organizations in the area that they could reach out to talk about, you know, autism. My first interview was about autism awareness, and I was extremely nervous. I mean, I do have a degree in psychology, and I feel like I have a grasp on what autism is and stuff like that because we've lived through it with Blake. But at the same time, autism for us isn't the same as autism for 99.98% of the families that are supported by this organization. You know, each one of those, the kids are going to have, you know, different needs. Even if my kids got the same, I don't want to say issue because they're not issues. These are kids. These are people. And I think sometimes it's easy to forget that, you know, they're just regular people at the end of the day. And they're not just kids with autism or autistic kids. They're kids that happen to have autism that are amazing. Like, and I'm so happy to just be part of that, to, even though I can't see the good in myself and the trust, like the fact that these people, my wife is calling me. Let me pause this somehow. So I did something and messed up the last video, so we'll just splice this in somehow, and I won't make this but a couple minutes, and just kind of close out the video. Especially now I know what I was talking about. Emily called, and I hit the wrong button like always. But yeah, there's some other stuff that's going on that I can't necessarily talk about yet, but I will. I did receive a scholarship. I don't even know how to word right. I didn't get a full ride, but I got half a ride. So if you buy a car, I got half of it, and it's probably like the passenger side. They just cut it down the middle. I'm like, oh yeah, you got nominated for this by a teacher. You did so good. Okay, it's odd. Seeing I just left your school a couple weeks ago, and now a teacher's nominating me for half the car scholarship, or I guess the best way he puts a partial scholarship, about 50%. Applied for the new school I'm hoping for, and moving on in that direction, jumping through all the hoops I need to in the other direction, and trying to be a good person and live life, and donate my time to charities and everything else, and try to do what I tell you guys almost every video is be nice to each other. Just for once, just for a little bit. It becomes addictive. Maybe it's just me, I just really like help. That's why you guys are my friends. Not because I helped you, but because if you ever needed me, you can almost guarantee that I'll be there. Or I'll do whatever it takes to get you something. Like, it breaks my heart when a friend's let down by someone else. Or, you know, a friend's in help and I can't be the one to help them. I got a truck? Let me come get you. You know, let me move this for you. You need someone to talk to? Here's my phone number. Here, you know, just shoot me a message. We can chat. We can talk. You know, I can just listen. And I think for me what it came down to is the fact that I learned that I am trying to be the friends to people that... I'm trying to be the friend that I would want people to be to me. Yes, I'll let you out. There's cats. Ugh. needy. Yeah, so if you're my friend, then I like you. Let's be friends. What do you say? No? Okay. Go and take a shower. Put on some deodorant. But no, all's well here. I mean, some things I'll talk about eventually, but good. Still alive, still making videos. Need anything, shoot me a message. Otherwise, be nice to each other. Love you guys. Peace out.